This week, how a proposal in the Biden administration's tax reform plan could have millions of Americans paying more in capital gains. Could a reverse mortgage help?
Click on the banner above to learn more about our sponsor, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
Good day, welcome back, and thank you for joining us here at the Industry Leader Update. A little-known provision in the Biden administration's tax plan could easily have millions of middle-class, yes, you heard me right, middle-class Americans paying much more in taxes. One way the Biden tax plan may try to raise revenue to fund the administration's $3 trillion infrastructure bill is by changing the way that capital gains taxes are administered at death. So write Taylor Tepper and Benjamin Curry in a recent Forbes Advisor column. Now, more specifically, that change would be in what is called stepped-up basis. Perhaps you've heard the term. Today, heirs are not being taxed on the appreciation or gain in the value of a home or investment that took place before they inherited the asset. However, under the new provision in the Biden tax plan, which has of course not been approved yet, it's just a proposal, that plan could reverse the whole stepped-up basis and leave children and their heirs liable for capital gains taxes. Democratic Senators Cory Booker and Chris Van Hollen, and also Independent Bernie Sanders, have proposed a bill to close what they say is the stepped-up basis tax loophole. Now, that loophole has been used by millions of Americans of all incomes, but it could have a significant fallout, at least on middle-class families. They could face having to pay significant capital gains taxes. Now, the columnists do cite the example of a hypothetical single school teacher, Anne, and she takes home about $60,000 a year. Under the current tax rules, when her uncle passes away and leaves her his Tampa Bay condominium, and he bought it for $100,000, and she sells it for $600,000 in today's market, well, she would pocket the full $600,000 without any capital gains tax due. Now, if she postponed the sale, let's say, she would be responsible for the gains in the value of that property after the death of her uncle until she sold it. Not a bad proposition. However, if the stepped-up basis rule were to be completely eliminated, as proposed, Anne's gain of $500,000 would be taxed at a 20% long-term capital gains tax, and she would face a net investment income tax rate of 3.8%. Anne's total tax liability for the sale of her uncle's property that she sells would then be $89,327 in taxes. Now, being aware of the potential backlash that this middle-class tax hike, which in fact it would be, the co-sponsors of the Senate bill have a proposed $1 million per person exemption. So, with that provision, Anne's tax liability would have returned to zero. However, if she did inherit a property, let's say valued well over $1 million, any amount over that threshold would indeed be subject to capital gains taxes. Now, we have seen this before. According to the Tax Policy Center, this is not the first time that we have seen the proposal to eliminate or curtail the stepped-up basis tax exemption. In fact, attempts were made to change that law in 1976, 2001, and 2015. I have a hard time believing it will be completely eliminated, said Joseph Velkos, a key private bank tax trust director in Cleveland, Ohio. If it is, it'll affect many more people, including those making less than $400,000 a year. Indeed, it would be a middle-class tax hike, write the columnists, and I think that's a fair statement if this were to go through as it is today. The wealthiest Americans, they know how to massage our tax code and use very creative financial instruments or trusts to avoid or reduce taxes. And also, if the stepped-up basis were to be completely eliminated, wealthy real estate holders may choose not to hold their property until death. They might do something before then. As for the middle-class homeowner, some may consider passing on a portion of their real estate gains or wealth today while they're alive instead of waiting till they die. And one way that one could accomplish that could be, yes, a reverse mortgage loan. So just stop for a moment and take note. This is where things get really sticky. The tax code is extremely complex, and when you couple it with real estate law, the waters become even murkier. That's where an experienced tax professional and real estate attorney should be consulted, not a reverse mortgage originator. And that's okay. We do what we do best and we leave everything to the rest as we should. But today's segment should simply alert us to what could be one of the most substantial and far-reaching tax reforms in a generation. And it would significantly change the way that Americans invest and also hold their real estate. So if you want to learn a little bit more about this, I would encourage you. It's a good excuse to call and ask to sit down with your local financial planner. Likely they're going to be impressed and appreciate your curiosity. Many people don't ask about these things, and they could even bring you some insightful strategies. So what are your thoughts on this proposal and eliminating the stepped-up basis? And if it did happen, what sort of impacts would you see on the reverse mortgage industry? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you would share this video with other reverse mortgage pros, you can do that on LinkedIn, Facebook, and in your Twitter accounts. Also, if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. That way you never miss an upcoming episode. And I got a question. Do you like to catch your news on the go? I'm one of those people that does each day. If so, you can listen to our podcast, HECM World Weekly. In fact, it's the nation's only weekly reverse mortgage podcast. You can find it here on HECMWorld.com, or you can subscribe and listen on iTunes. And that's it for us. As my friend says, think positive and test negative. Have a great week.